Okay, this afternoon we're going to go through all the parts to an absolute classic from this album, which is called House of the Holy by Led Zeppelin. See, I can do that now because I'm the right way round, you know, and I used to have the videos that were all left-handed. If I'd done that to say, you know, the album's called, it would have just been squiggle of the squiggle, you know. I can do that now. So this is a song that most people will know called The Ocean. It's the last track on House of the Holy. I'll tell you a little story about it. When this album came out, you know, my friends and I would sometimes buy an album, go round to each other's house, and we'd all listen to the album quite reverentially, you know. And I think in a way that's kind of disappeared, you know, from the youth of today, if you like. But we'd just listen to it all the way through, and we wouldn't talk. And then at the end of the first side, because this is vinyl, when you flipped it over, you know, we'd say, well, it wasn't that great, was it? Did you hear that bit, you know? And on House of the Holy, you know, it starts with the song remains the same. It goes into the next one's the Rain song, which is the one that you know, the start sounds a little bit like Something, on purpose. We've then got Over the Hills and Far Away. We've then got the joke song, or is it? The Crunge, which is like James Brown. Kick It to the Other Side, and it starts with, which is an open G, but never mind. And then another song that you know wasn't taken as 100% serious when it came out, which is Jamaica, the reggae song, and then the absolute masterpiece, No Quarter. And I think we all thought the album, you know, was finished, and that was it. And then you heard John Bonham's voice, and they went into The Ocean, which is, I don't know if it's my favourite on this album, but it's certainly up there. The Ocean, Dancing Days are probably my two favourite. No Quarter is up there. All of them. It's just a fantastic album. The funny thing about this is, as I say, it's called House of the Holy. You can read it on the back. And House of the Holy is not on it. House of the Holy is on that one, Physical Graffiti, which I recommend. I'm sure you have, but if you don't have, you know, go out and buy. It's sometimes called Led Zeppelin 5 because it came after that one, which I'm sure you know is called Led Zeppelin 4 or Four Symbols. But it's actually termed House of the Holy. And you'll probably know the opening riff to The Ocean, which is the one that goes... Right, we know that bit, yeah? I'll go through all these parts. You've then got the chords that go over the verses, which is... that goes over Robert Plant singing. There's a variation of that after Jimmy's solo, which goes... and then... a cappella bit. We've got Jimmy's amazing solo. We'll get to all that. And at the end, just when you think the record's finished, and it probably could not be any better, goes into double time, and you get the double time guitar solo from Jimmy Page. Now, I've never actually seen anyone have a pop at this one, doing this. I've never seen anyone do it live, though I'm sure some of the Zepp tribute bands do The Ocean, and you know, they must do that, but I haven't seen anyone do it. So what happens at the end is they go through the riff again. So I was going to say let's start at the very beginning, a very good place to start, but let's not. Let's start at the very end, just for a change. So we've got this. And then suddenly it jumps into double time, 2, 3, 4. And we get this solo, and it's in 3 sections. It's played 3 times over that sequence, right? So the first time, if we wanted a D chord to bring it in, you know, you'd have to jump from there to here, obviously. We'll start down here. That's the first section, right? So the way that pans out is D to the E. And then we go into this fabulous. And then it starts up again, right? So on the first note of the D, now you'll notice in this what Jimmy's doing is he's playing off an A tonality. So the band's doing 2, 3, 4, 2, 3, 4, 2, 3, 4, D and E. And Jimmy comes in with this. That line, right? So what we do first is we bend the E note. Lay down, bend the B note, like that. So it's a likely you'll find in a lot of blues stuff, you know. It's that kind of lick, right? But this time, it's got a very assertive. And almost as an afterthought, there are 2 F sharps to E. So we've got. That's the kind of afterthought bit, the F sharp to E. And then we do it again. That's the second half of it. Now that's a little bit more involved because the second time so we've got the first part. Coming with the F sharp to A. F sharp to A, bend the E, fret the D. So this time we've got and then so that lick is so we bend the B and we've got chromatically. Bend the B and we go E, D, E flat E. Back to the bend. Right? So. And then now that jump is in a heartbeat, so we go. And then, which mirrors the other lick, but this time, you know, we're down 2.5 tones. And this time we're bending the F sharp, so we go. And the sort of tagline here, just the tail off is, this is a little bend into E. So far we've got this. And it's bookended by more of that line in a minute, right? So that's the first solo, 1 of 3. So we're a third way through. Second one. That's the second one, right? So this time we've got a bit more of a pause on the F sharp note. So we can still get the D chord. pause, and then F sharp to A. Bend A. B to C sharp. So slowly, that is. F sharp to A. Bend E, jump up as if we're going from playing in an A position to playing in a B position. It goes. And that is B to C sharp and then bend F sharp. So the whole thing is. And into that lick. So after we've got the jump from ostensibly playing in A to ostensibly playing it in B, and those notes are F sharp to A, bend E, B to C sharp, bend F sharp. And then the most euphoric bit in a euphoric section is when Jimmy goes right up to the tonic, the A, and he plays the natural seventh. Now, a lot of rock guys don't do this. A lot of the rock guys, avoid that note, other than Bill Nelson, who loved it. So we've got, and here it comes. It's a 3-note phrase. Right. So those notes are A flat, and E. So we just play the A flat, and E. And the same link again. Right, now that bit is coming off a C sharp. A to A flat, F sharp to E, C sharp to B. Now, if you like, the harmony to that would be, but it's actually, when the harmony comes in, it's played an octave higher. So we've got, you see, so the A, the harmony to the C sharp, which is the third apart, there's C sharp, there's A. The A is actually up here. So we've got, now, as with a lot of Zeppelin tunes, you sometimes find Jimmy played a composite of the parts that had been layered on the studio albums to cover it. Dancing Days is a great example of that, right? And you can do that. You could go, for example, and you'd almost get both parts. So you get the first one, like, and we end up on that E chord. So we get the A to A flat, and we'd have to play it there to get the C sharp. Like that. Doesn't sound as good as just, the line on its own. Or if you've got two guitars. But you can do it, And in a live setting, I think that's pretty good. So far we're two-thirds through. And what we've got so far is, you know that bit? into the final bit, final section 3 of this bit, and this time it's a very 50s rock and roll bit, and Jimmy plays this. And we're into the very final. And that's the end. So this rock and roll bit, again, I remember in my teenage Zepp obsessive days, I've never really managed to grow out of. I remember, I still have it. I remember buying from a boy at school who had obviously got tired of it, Led Zeppelin's, live on Blueberry Hill. And in those days, it was quite often said that, if you'd seen Zepp live, 71, 72, they would play like the whole of Elvis Presley's Rock and Roll Part 1 in order, because they knew it all, and Jimmy Page obviously knew all the Scotty Moore stuff. And it wasn't a surprise for me on House of the Holy where Jimmy played this. It sounded very much like the sort of rock and roll that he would play on Blueberry Hill itself. That kind of line from the blues and from Scotty Moore and rockabilly and stuff. So what we've got in that line is, the band's still playing the 2 chords. So what Jimmy plays is, as if you're playing a D chord, like that, and just play through the chord with 2 trills. So take the first one off the top, the D note, and do the same thing on the B and the G string. And he does that 3 times, and then to pep it up again, we're coming to the end, he plays Jump Up, and we end on that note, the F sharp note bend. So the last bit is, and then and that's the end of it. So the only I don't know if it's problematic, but we've got the very sort of sweet. And you have to jump from that to the jump up. And that's the last note of the solo. And then, as I say, we're into that rundown. And that's the end of that section of the Ocean. I'll come back and we'll do some of the riffs and Jimmy's main solo.